So, Craig, what do you know about cursed books? There is a free bookshop. Well, it's like a free book stand in Bournemouth in the shopping centre that was happening past today. And I usually go and have a look to see what's there, any good
Are you
research
sure they're
stuff.
free and you're not just stealing?
Um, I mean, I just thought everyone like around it went for a spontaneous jog, and I just joined in like after I grabbed books. But now you mention it, they do look angry. But
Was it
anyway,
a church? Because looking at that book,
yeah, well, it's
are you
this
stealing
is
from God?
or
You know you go to hell
liberating.
for that.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Well,
Can
we'll
you
see.
steal a Bible? Hmm.
I don't know. They give them away. They leave
Exactly.
free ones in hotels, don't they? In the drawer. I think you're
Do
supposed
you
to take
need
them with you.
okay, so why do you need a Bible and why is it possessed?
Well, why do I need a Bible? We all need a Bible, Craig. Um, look at it. Look at it. It's
Yeah, I think all
for
right.
anyone
Is that
listening. It's that lovely sort of 1800s sort of leather bound, like very thin paper, sort of with a gold sort of finish on the outside. It's cracked, it's torn. It's
you're making
got
me think of black books? Are those leather bound pounds?
There's an inscription inside that I can't make out apart from it being gifted in 1889.
Wow.
Um, It's a King James Bible. It's got all the fire and brimstone stuff at the beginning. It just feels weird, though. You know what I mean? And I'm not a big believer in a lot of that, I guess, as you probably gathered by now. But it's kind of there's a weird vibe to it. I'll bring it along when I come and see you, but and then
It
hide it.
looks like something you need to like if you're dressed up as an exorcist for Halloween or something. Like,
Yeah, it's
maybe you could gift it to what was his name? Ian something, wasn't it? Ian.
yes, the badass looking guy from who went
All
and
right, why don't you marry him then, Andy? Christ.
I think on that episode you were the one fawning over him.
Yeah, but now we're fighting over him.
But upside down in the back, there are for any that are listening rather
Upside
than
down in
looking.
the
So yeah,
backs.
it's basically the back.
What does
Uh,
it say at the bottom? Endo.
Endomos. It
Wow.
almost looks like a kid's written it there, but there's neater writing above it that look to be birth dates of family members.
Wow.
Um, but there
Those are the people that now haunt you.
some are words, and some begin with words, and some begin with numbers.
How long
But
have you had it?
a day, like literally,
Uh,
I'll pick this up today.
So, all right. So you haven't gone one night with it in your flat yet.
Not yet. No, I'm going to leave it next to Ekba. Um,
The possessed doll.
see if they cancel each other out. Um, but the earliest date in it is 1828. Um, yeah. Oh, Endo
18.
and Moss. I think that might be.
Yeah, maybe. That book can't be from 1828.
No, no, no. That's the date of the date of the back that someone's written. So I'm guessing that's the birth date of a grandparent or something. I don't know. I need to get
Someone's
someone
family
that's
tree.
a lot better at reading cursive than I am. You know, I need someone who can do that a lot better than I can. But I haven't found any notes in there or scrawls or bloodstains or anything just yet. But yeah, I don't know. I'll bring it along. It definitely feels like it belongs on the weird shelf, but it's yeah, I don't know. I will keep you updated, but this definitely feels a bit cursed. And it was the way it was sat there, you had lots of modern books. It was all sort of different books on, kids' books and like romance novels and stuff, all modern paperbacks. And then there was just that sat there on the top of them all.
That's definitely Kirsten.
Yeah. And like no, there was a buzz of activity around it, people looking through, but no one touched it. And I'm like, yep.
Wow.
Um, I also picked up a copy of The Morte Arthur, Thomas Mallory, and a book on Italian food, which I will probably throw at Becky. But yeah, that was. They don't seem quite as cursed. They don't seem quite as cursed. But I will keep people updated if any strange goings on happen with this Bible. But just the circumstances of where it was, it just felt really creepy. I'll I might
There's
show.
no more reason that that should be possessed than the food book. So,
When have you ever heard of a possessed Italian food book by Elizabeth David?
I've never heard of a possessed Bible, to be fair.
Oh, I bet there is one. It's going to be. Turns out it's like human skin or something binding it. Are you doing? Are you quickly googling possessed Bible?
Yep. This podcast is giving us some weird search history. No, the first thing that comes up is Mark 5:120. Jesus restores a demon-possessed man. Then there's gotquestions.org. What does the Bible say about demon possession? It's all about demon possession and quotes from the Bible, to be honest. How do I respond to a demon-possessed person? What does the Bible say about demonic possession? It's more about what's in the Bible than the Bible itself.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's sort of. Yeah, I guess it's. Yeah, the search on that is loaded, isn't it? If you get the words possessed and Bible in there, that's what you're going to get. Well, if it's not possessed or cursed, then yes, it might end up being a prop. I don't know. It feels like a crime using it as a prop, though. You know, it's. I mean, this thing's old.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, it's like, nearly 140 years old, or is 100, possibly older. Because I mean, this was gifted by the looks of it in 1889. It doesn't mean it was made then. It was made possibly before then. So sadly, back then they didn't print on the year it actually was made.
So the article I wanted to talk about next, Andy, is behind a paywall. But basically, it's a bit of a dark story, but the headline was funny because I saw it in Morrison's on a newspaper.
Should have bought the newspaper.
I know, but I'm a cheapskate. And
That's
I thought,
all right.
I'll find it online later. And now I can't.
It's not like we can beg for money here because all these lovely people already pay for this.
So there was a story locally. A man's recently been charged who had stabbed another man, attempted murder, and he was claiming to be the reincarnation of Jesus himself.
Ah, yes. Let me have a look in here. I'll find that. Where's that passage about Jesus stabbing people in passers-by and devices? I'm sure it's somewhere.
Outside the butcher's shop as well, conveniently.
There you go.
Shouldn't laugh, but it's just so bizarre. Yeah, so I haven't got that. So what I thought we would do instead for our lovely listeners,
yes,
is a story from Wales Online. So we're going to link it back to some recent Wales content. You're going to like this. This is better than stabbing stuff. All right. Are you sitting comfortably?
Yes, mostly.
Good. Aldi customer says...
Hang on.
Oh.
Here we go.
Yeah. We need to get money so that Andy can buy a bottle opener.
I'm sitting comfortably now.
All right. So, yeah, this comes from Wales Online. Aldi customer says she found bumhole in stewed steak tin.
What? Like, I mean, how? What? Eh?
The first picture is Maggie Duncan, 62, holding the empty can of stewed steak from Aldi.
I'm glad it's not the one with. I'm glad they don't show the bumhole.
So, no, they do. A sickened Aldi customer claims to found what looked like a bumhole in her tin of stewed steak as people quipped it was like a bush tucker trial. Maggie Duncan said she spotted the inch-long tube with a puckered end as she tipped the £2.9 tin meal into a plastic container before heating it up on January 8th. But as the 62-year-old emptied the Aldi-owned brand Bramwell's meal and fought through the meat, she was sickened by the object that her equally horrified husband said looked like a chicken's anus. And he would know.
Oh my God. Oh no, I looked at the picture. Why did I look at the picture?
So Aldi apologized but explained that in very rare occurrences, gristle-like material can occasionally occur with meat products. The customer acknowledged that some gristle or fat is to be expected in a meat product, but claims this went above and beyond what she believes was acceptable. Stunned social media users exclaimed it looked like a bum hole or a heart valve and quipped it would take some chewing. One asked, "What in the bush tucker trial are you playing at Aldi?" A nod to when celebs are forced to chow down on stomach-churning delicacies, including anus on the hit ITV show. Maggie said, "I've never seen anything like this in my food before. I just couldn't believe it. I was actually feeling sick, even just looking at it. The fact that someone could have made, say, a pie with that and ended up with that in their mouth. For me, it just doesn't look fit for human consumption."
Oh, I mean, I've had stuff. I've had stuff like, sort of not quite like that before, but like I've had little tubey bits in meat before, Um,
Uh,
but
she
that's
refused to serve it to even her dogs, apparently,
oh,
which there's a picture of, which is slightly more pleasing than the bumhole. This is previously my husband had eaten it and the dogs have had the leftovers and they loved it. I opened it, transferred it to a plastic dish. I forked through it and the disgusting piece of offal was there.
oh, yeah, it's rank. I mean, I don't know if it was a bum hole, but also they said it looked like a chicken bum hole, right?
The husband specifically said chicken, which is why I went, he would know.
Why would it be? Why would it be in a can of beef?
No, they say that the dogs had Aldi dog meat and it looked more appetizing than the stewed steak. And
As
she won't.
someone, as someone that has ingested dog meat or well, dog food from a tin, on behalf of another podcast, I
Is
can,
that really popular podcast called Will I Like It?
yeah, the one that had
The one
Einar
that had
Selvig
Ina
on it, right?
Salvik on.
Fuck off.
And Kai U Fast. Yeah, and many more.
Oh, well, tell your friends about it. Don't let Craig get away with this shit. Tell your friends about us.
Let's keep it on track. Have you got anything else to talk about? Because I've got one other thing we could discuss before we end.
Go on then. Go on.
So this is going to connect two things together. So something I've been wondering for a while, and I think maybe we'll do a blog post to summarize some of this at some point. Which means more writing, Andy. So I wonder, based on researching and writing podcast scripts, and then listening to other podcasts do those stories, and realizing how many things that these shows often get wrong, does the truth matter when you're telling a story? Obviously, with folklore, you've got a bit of leeway, but some of these stories, like say the witch farm we did recently, are based on real lives with real people. So how much does it matter that you stick to the facts?
Not one bit. No, in all honesty, I think I do think it matters. I think there's something to be said for enhancing it as a storyteller. You will dramatize certain things in a way that doesn't add any details that aren't there, but just like heighten their reaction a little bit. Like if they say they were shocked,
Yeah.
you put in things like that, they were stopped dead in their tracks, their heart racing, stuff like that. That can all be fit into that shocked category, and it's not a stretch. If
Yeah.
you say they dropped their glass and cut their hand or something to emphasize that shock, that's making shit up. That's getting to the border. And when you make up lots and lots of shit, like certain people we've covered as well, I guess, it's that's a bit far. I don't agree with it personally. I think if it is real people that apparently have watched our show about
Well, no, so if you're speaking about Liz Rich from The Witch Farm, Hail Fanog, I don't know that she's watched it, but I know that she's seen it on Facebook and commented on it and tagged her daughter in the post. So I don't know what their reaction would be if they did watch it, but it does make you second guess everything that you've ever said.
I don't know if they've watched it either, but you see what I did there? I added a little bit because they commented on the post, and then I put a bit in there that they'd watched it. It was an
Oh, I
assumption. It was a
see.
jump. You see what I did there?
Yeah. But does it
Um,
matter that you did that?
exactly. A lot of people would say, well, they commented on it. They could have watched it. They probably did. They did. You know, um, I
Oh,
think in all
smart
likelihood,
ass.
if that was me and it was about my experience and there was a podcast about it, I'm enough of a introverted self-entertainer to watch something about myself. And but they might have just clicked on it and had a quick browse through, I don't know. But either way, they commented on it, as you say, and
Yeah.
there is that point where it comes to that you are covering people, as you say, that are live these stories. And I
It
think
kind of brought it home a little bit when she commented. I was like, wait, that Liz Rich. And then I looked
because
at like profile. I was like, oh yeah, no, it is that Liz Rich.
um as I say, I've got I was looking at it I was looking at just browsing through the comments and it didn't clock that it was her. And then when you said, I thought, hang on. Until I
All
was like,
right.
oh shit. And I did think,
There's
yeah,
another semi bombshell for you then,
go on then.
because I don't know if it's a bombshell because I couldn't work it out. But there's a woman on there with the last name Harry that I wonder if could be connected to Larry Harry,
Okay.
and seemed to
Um,
know Liz as well, by the way. So seemed to be connected.
what world have we got ourselves into?
So potentially there's another one from the story or someone connected with the story that also saw it. When I posted it on the Uncanny Facebook group, I did not think of any of this. And then when I saw them comment, I was like, wait, now I'm, because we did it a while back. I was like, wait, what did
Yeah.
we say? Did we say anything offensive? Like, are they going to come after us? Which we don't intend to offend anyone, but you forget sometimes when you're telling a story that there are
Yeah.
real people and they're still, like we mentioned, Bill had passed away, but Liz is still around. So, yeah. Don't know whether that changes things. Like,
Hmm.
even the Coombs family,
Yeah.
like, we already know that the book we used for that was dramatized to begin with. So for us to stick to the facts is quite difficult because we're using a fictional or semi-fictionalized account. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've just been wondering a lot more about what do you use as your sources, and we're primarily folklore storytelling podcast, right?
Yeah. I mean, as I said, if it's so to an extent, if it's a very old story, even if it's factual, like Beast of Jevedun, like everything I put in that episode was stuff that had been documented. But I might have spiced up the wording a little bit, but I
I think
wouldn't
I
have
say
actually.
stuff I experienced.
Yeah, it was all stuff that I directly experienced on my astral projection. No, as I say, I think if it's in living memory, it's why I get annoyed at certain historical films and not others. Like, I think Braveheart's pretty crap. I think it really, really takes some liberties with history, but
Mm,
ultimately, I don't care that much. Whereas things like U571 and the Gallipoli film with Mel Gibson in pissed me off a lot more because there were still people in living memory that had gone through that at the time. And I
yeah,
think you've got a duty, I think, if you're presenting it in any media to do that,
yeah,
to actually try and stick to the facts as much as possible. And again, that's not to say you can't spice up the wording of it. I think you should try and make something engaging, but I don't think you
mm,
can go around making bits up to make it a more interesting story. It's just kind of vulture-like in my mind.
yeah. So I'd say I won't throw shade on particular podcasts, but there are a few I've done stories on since probably since we began where I thought, oh, this podcast I listened to's done that story. Let's see how they did it. Like after I've written it, I mean, like sometimes we've even recorded it, and I went, oh, I didn't know they did it. All right, let's see what they do. And you're listening back, and you're like, that's not how I discovered that it happened. Like someone's making something up there, or twisting the story, or they might say a man did something when it was a woman. Like little
Yeah.
details like that, and you're like, no, I've read multiple versions of this, and that was a woman.
So back in days of yore, when we first started, our podcast tended to be Craig would research a bit, I'd research a bit, and we'd come at a subject with different stories. Then we started doing the scripts, most of which Craig writes. I've written a few, and I think the first one I wrote was the Sawney Bean one, and I had to rewrite some of that because I at that point was a bit more naive, and I was getting my information from partly from other podcasts as well. I thought it's a way I can do research on my way to work or something, just stick that on.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's good for getting a feel, but like you can't take it as gospel because there was so much shit some of these podcasts had made up. And I just
Mm.
thought, I mean, it's a sketchy story at best in terms of evidence, but like
That one is a bit more on the realms of the folklore, right? So it's a difficult
it
one
is,
to,
but there were things being presented as fact which
yeah,
were not even in the like older versions of the story, weren't even in
yeah.
the pulp magazines, they were just from another book that had just seemed to have made it up or just
Is that
made up.
like it's about like the guard that trips over the body parts? Is that?
Yeah, all right, you're right. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I made that one up. That's good. Very all right, you caught me out. But
No, I get what
I,
you're
w
saying
I
though.
wanted to throw a bit of storytelling in there, but I didn't give the guard a name. I and also that bit was kind of separate. I was sort of trying to make it a bit, as a spicy introduction rather than an actual. Um,
Yeah. I mean, everyone's
but
going to get stuff wrong. Like I say, we
yeah,
use multiple sources, and hopefully, if you find the same story again and again, you know roughly the main points of it. But
yeah, and it was mainly
yeah,
that bit. No, it's a good example. You're right to call me out on that one. But I was using that for that's a good sort of example. I was using that as a vehicle to deliver the shock of like seeing the meat torn into strips and being salted and smoked and like the bits
yeah.
in jars and bones around and stuff like that. I was sort of using that, and it was just a nice shocking way to bring that in rather than just
Mm.
saying they came across a cave filled with meat and sort of long pig. Um, but it was just a way of conveying that, and I think to an extent that's okay, especially as you say with stuff like Shawnee Bean, where it's like it is delving into the realms of folklore. But
It's
when you,
more myth
yeah,
than real
yeah.
story.
But I think when you get to the point, as you say, when there are actual people still around that experience this stuff, and even if you think it's a crock of shit,
Mm.
you should still respect what was documented.
Which even like we say, like we've just come off doing the Greenbrier Ghost, and that's based on court transcripts and stuff. Like that's as close as we can get it
Yeah,
to what they say happened. Like whether you agree that it was a ghost or a dream or however is how you interpret it. But the main fact is that that is a court documented.
a good. I tell you what, going back to the Beast of Jevedon, actually, yeah, that's a good example of something that I didn't put in because it was unfortunately, it was the chap, the peasant, the farmer that shot the beasts, and I mentioned this the other day, I think, but that shot the beast's sort of progeny,
Yeah.
and I saw and again heard on podcasts these stories of magic bullets being, silver bullets being made from like these little church coins. You got these little sort of tokens, and
Yeah.
him melting them down and turning them into bullets. And amazing story. Absolutely made up a few centuries later. Like that was like 1800s or something that worked its way into the story. So like,
So you left it out.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mentioned
So
it. I mentioned it, but then mentioned that it was sadly a myth.
yeah.
Because I was like, it's a really cool bit of the story, and I want to put it in, but I've got to then shit on it and say like, no, it didn't happen.
That is
Uh,
sometimes the case as well, as you'll be like, oh, this is really cool. I go, oh no, wait, this is bullshit.
yeah, but it's kind of funny actually because it shows that people were doing it obviously hundreds of years ago. Though I mean, but that's how
Yeah.
storytelling evolves, isn't it? That's how storytelling happens. A story doesn't say the same. But again, when it is in living memory, I think it should until those people are gone and their children are gone And then I think you can start thinking, okay, it can kind of enter the realms of folklore now. It's kind of like
Yeah.
when does it stop being grave robbing and start being archaeology, right?
So another good example actually is the recent, because it would have gone out by the time this goes out, the episode we released for Valentine's Day,
Yeah,
where we shit on top of all the connections that are made to the murder. And consistently, I was like, that's really cool. We're going to, oh, wait, no, that's it. But I put
yeah,
that and I was like, this is what people say, probably bullshit. This is what
yeah.
people say, it's probably bullshit. So I think you can still include it and call it out. And
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm in Bournemouth, and it's like someone getting murdered in a slightly iffy way here, and then saying, sort of, and they think it might be connected to the mysterious Knowlton Rings because it's like, sort of 15 miles up the road.
hmm.
It's just because something's nearby doesn't make it connected, but it makes for a sexier story if it is.
Yeah. So I guess on that note, because we've probably been running for quite a while on this bonus episode, we should probably wrap it up, right?
Yes.
I did have some other things we could talk about, but we'll save that for another one.
Hmm. I think you should all take a moment as well to acknowledge the new flag that Craig has in the background.
We've replaced, because as you will well know, that too many people online can't get over the fact that there was a cock on our logo. And it seems to have been suppressing some of our content, maybe, we think. So we've not going to remove the old content, but going forward, you're going to see this guy more.
Yeah.
You can still get it on t-shirts and merch. It still exists. We've still got them. We're still going to use it. And he's
Rapping.
wearing one right now. He's wearing the clean one though, see?
I am wearing the clean one.
But
Don't want to get zucked.
yeah, so you can still get it as merch. We're still going to use it, but I find, particularly with shorts, if I post a video and I have a big todger to the side of me, everyone ignores everything I say and just like, what the fuck is that behind you? And I got bored of
That
it.
that 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 only happens when I'm there.
Exactly.
On
So
that
yeah,
note,
we've got this chap instead, which is based on my tattoo, which feels slightly weird.
it's not actually. Craig gets these tattooed on him after the merch is made. He's that dedicated.
I did with the cannabis,
Yes, yeah,
but the Soninos, no, the Soninos has been on my hand for years. That's
nice.
he's been there for a very long time. Although we did have to have him slightly redesigned before we could put it on a t-shirt because we lost the original and I couldn't get it high enough quality.
Okay.
So Matt, the Saxon storyteller, was kind enough to redo it for us. So if you notice, the snake is slightly different to what's on my hand, but the rest of it's about the same. I like it.
It's good.
I like it. I like the other one, to be honest, and I thought the other one showed that we don't take ourselves too seriously, which is why I enjoyed it more. But if it's, yeah, in the interest of the fact that people can't get over seeing a massive cock,
I
a
mean,
third massive cock on the podcast.
I think the other one's always got a the giant Wessex Wyrdo has got a special place in my heart because well, it's Wessex, isn't it? It's a Wessex figure.
Yeah, and he's tattooed on my legs, so you know.
We're gonna get a the next one will be the White Horse, but with a massive Todger. Yeah, thank you very much for being subscribers, for helping the podcast out. It does really help. Until next time, stay weird.
And don't blame the owls.